Best action-adventure games you should play in 2022. One of the best features of a good action-adventure game is being able to do a deep dive into an epic story. This, combined with quality gameplay and challenging boss encounters, are all hallmarks of action-adventure games. They can take players to any setting, from the Wild West or adorable fantasy lands. No matter how it's served up, these games are almost always fondly remembered. In this video, we will summarize some games that are worth trying in 2022. Some of these games also have remastered versions, and there are also some games that will be ported to other platforms. These are the best 10 action-adventure games that you should try to play in our opinion. So, enjoy the video.
Tell him I'm coming.
Number 10. Shadow of the Colossus Remake. Shadow of the Colossus is a 2018 action-adventure video game developed by Bluepoint Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. It is a remake of the original game developed by Team ICO and released in 2005 for the PlayStation 2, using ultra-high-definition art assets. The remake's development was led by Bluepoint, who developed the earlier PlayStation 3 remaster, with assistance from Japan Studio. The developers remade the assets from the ground up, but Shadow of the Colossus retains the same gameplay from the original title aside from the introduction of a new control scheme. The gameplay is nearly identical to the original version of the game, aside from reworked controls. Progression through Shadow of the Colossus occurs in cycles. Beginning at a central point in a landscape, the player seeks out and defeats a Colossus, and is returned to the central point to repeat the process. Most colossi are located in remote areas, such as atop cliffs or within ancient structures. Number 9. Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West is a 2022 action role-playing game developed by Guerrilla Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The sequel to 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, the game is set in a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States recovering from the aftermath of an extinction event caused by a rogue robot swarm. The player can explore the open world and complete quests using ranged and melee weapons against hostile machine creatures. Horizon Forbidden West was released on February 18, 2022, for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and received generally favorable reviews. The player controls Aloy, a hunter in a world populated by dangerous, animalistic machines. In an open world, she explores the mysterious frontier known as the Forbidden West, a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States, specifically the states of California, Nevada, and Utah. The map is larger than in the previous game. Exploration is improved with new underwater discoveries, and improvements to combat using the Valor Surge system, freeform climbing, and tools such as the Shield Wing, Focus Scanner, Diving Mask, and Poolcaster. The mission structure for quests better supports variety and objectives with compelling reward systems.
Whatever comes, I will be ready.
Number 8. The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening is an action-adventure game developed by Grezzo and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. Released worldwide on September 20, 2019, Link's Awakening is a remake of the 1993 game for the Game Boy. It retains the original's top-down perspective and gameplay, along with elements from the 1998 re-release Link's Awakening DX. The game features a retro-modern art style unique within the series with toy-like character designs, diorama-like world designs, and tilt-shift visuals that evoke the original game's presentation on the Game Boy. It also features customizable dungeons which the player can create and then complete for rewards. The game received positive reviews for its faithfulness, improved gameplay, and unique art style, while its technical issues were criticized. As of December 2021, the game has sold over 6 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling games on the Nintendo Switch.
The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Number 7. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is a 2022 action role-playing game developed by From Software and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. The game was released for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S on February 25. In Elden Ring, players control a customizable player character on a journey to repair the Elden Ring and become the new Elden Lord. The game is presented through a third-person perspective, with players freely roaming its interactive open world. Gameplay elements include combat using several types of weapons and magic spells, horseback riding, and crafting. From Software wanted to create an open-world game with gameplay similar to their existing Dark Souls series, intending Elden Ring to act as an evolution of Dark Souls. Elden Ring received critical acclaim for its open-world, gameplay systems, and setting, with criticism going towards technical performance issues upon release. The game had sold more than 17 million copies. Number 6. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a 2018 action role-playing video game developed by Ubisoft Quebec and published by Ubisoft. It is the 11th major installment in the Assassin's Creed series and the successor to 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins. Like its predecessor, the game features a large open world and adopts many elements from the role-playing genre, putting more emphasis on combat and exploration than stealth. Odyssey tells a mythological history of the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta from 431 to 422 BC. Players control a Spartan mercenary, who fights on both sides of the conflict as they attempt to find their family and eliminate the mysterious cult of Cosmos. Odyssey was released worldwide for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on October 5, 2018. It received generally positive reviews from critics, with praise for its gameplay, graphics, characters, role-playing elements, and world design, but was criticized for its overambitiousness, pacing, and the inclusion of microtransactions. Odyssey was a commercial success, selling over 10 million copies worldwide by March 2020.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, available October 5th.
Number 5. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Based on the Marvel Comics character Miles Morales, it is inspired by both the character's decade-long comic book mythology and the 2018 animated film Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, which helped popularize him. The game is a spin-off and successor to Marvel's Spider-Man in 2018, and the second installment in Insomniac's Spider-Man series. The narrative focuses on Miles' struggle to balance the duties of his civilian persona and his role as the second Spider-Man when his new home, Harlem, is threatened by a war between the Roxxon Energy Corporation and a high-tech criminal army called the Underground, led by the mysterious Tinkerer. Gameplay is presented from the third-person perspective with a primary focus on Miles' traversal and combat abilities. Miles can freely move around New York City, interacting with characters, undertaking missions, and unlocking new gadgets and suits by progressing through the main story or completing tasks. Outside the story, the player is able to complete side missions to unlock additional content and collectible items. Combat focuses on chaining attacks together and using the environment and webs to incapacitate numerous foes while avoiding damage.
My time now. My time.
Number 4. Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 2018 action-adventure game developed and published by Rockstar Games. The game is the third entry in the Red Dead series and a prequel to the 2010 game Red Dead Redemption. The story is set in 1899 and follows the exploits of outlaw Arthur Morgan, a member of the Van der Linde gang, in a fictionalized representation of the western, midwestern, and southern United States. The game is presented through both first and third-person perspectives, and the player may freely roam in its interactive open world. Gameplay elements include shootouts, robberies, hunting, horseback riding, interacting with non-player characters, and maintaining the character's honor rating through moral choices and deeds. Red Dead Redemption 2 was released for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in October 2018, and for PC and Stadia in November 2019. It broke several records and had the second biggest launch in the history of entertainment, generating $725 million in sales from its opening weekend and exceeding the lifetime sales of Red Dead Redemption in 2 weeks. It is also among the best-selling video games with over 45 million copies shipped.
It is us or him!
Red Dead Redemption 2, coming October 26th.
Number 3. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The player controls Jin Sakai, a samurai on a quest to protect Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. Jin must choose between his warrior code to fight honorably, and pragmatic but despicable ways that can repel the Mongols with minimal casualties. The game features a large open world which can be explored either on foot or on horseback. When facing enemies, the player can choose to engage in a direct confrontation with enemies using Jin's katana, or become a legendary warrior known as the Ghost, which use stealth tactics to assassinate opponents. A multiplayer mode titled Legends was introduced in October 2020 and made available separately in September 2021. The game was released for PlayStation 4 in July 2020, and an expanded version for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, subtitled Director's Cut featuring the Iki Island expansion, was released in August 2021. It was nominated for several end-of-the-year accolades, including Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2020. A film adaptation is currently in development. Number 2. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt is a 2015 action role-playing game developed and published by CD Projekt. It is the sequel to the 2011 game The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, and the third game in the Witcher video game series, played in an open world with a third-person perspective. The game takes place in a fictional fantasy world based on Slavic mythology. Players control Geralt of Rivia, a monster slayer for hire known as a Witcher, and search for his adopted daughter, who is on the run from the otherworldly Wild Hunt. Players battle the game's many dangers with weapons and magic, interact with non-player characters, and complete quests to acquire experience points and gold, which are used to increase Geralt's abilities and purchase equipment. The game's story has 3 possible endings, determined by the player's choices at key points in the narrative. The Witcher 3 was released for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in May 2015, with a Nintendo Switch version released in October 2019, and PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions planned for release in Q4 2022. It received numerous Game of the Year awards and has been cited as one of the best video games ever made. The game shipped over 40 million copies, making it one of the best-selling video games of all time. Number 1. God of War, 2018. God of War is an action-adventure video game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It was released in April 2018 for the PlayStation 4, with a PC version released in January 2022. The game is the 8th installment in the God of War series, the 8th chronologically, and the sequel to 2010's God of War 3. Unlike previous games, which were loosely based on Greek mythology, this installment is loosely inspired by Norse mythology, with the majority of it set in ancient Scandinavia in the realm of Midgard. For the first time in the series, there are 2 protagonists, Kratos, the former Greek god of war who remains the only playable character, and his young son, Atreus. Following the death of Kratos' second wife, Atreus' mother, they journey to fulfill her request that her ashes be spread at the highest peak of the 9 realms. Kratos keeps his troubled past a secret from Atreus, who is unaware of his divine nature. Along their journey, they come into conflict with monsters and gods of the Norse world. It has been cited as among the best video games ever made, and was awarded Game of the Year by numerous media outlets and award shows. A sequel, God of War Ragnarok, is scheduled for release in November 2022 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World is an action role-playing video game developed and published by Capcom and the fifth mainline installment in the Monster Hunter series. It was released worldwide for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in January 2018, with a PC version following in August 2018. In the game, the player takes the role of a hunter, tasked to hunt down and either kill or trap monsters that roam in one of several environmental spaces. If successful, the player is rewarded through loot consisting of parts from the monster and other elements that are used to craft weapons and armor, amongst other equipment. The game's core loop has the player crafting appropriate gear to be able to hunt down more difficult monsters, which in turn provide parts that lead to more powerful gear. Players may hunt alone or in a group of up to 4 players via the game's online multiplayer. Monster Hunter is the single highest-selling game in Capcom's history, with over 21 million copies shipped by July 2022. A Plague Tale: Innocence. A Plague Tale: Innocence is an action-adventure stealth game developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Home Interactive. It was released for PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in May 2019. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of the game were released in July 2021, alongside a cloud-based edition for the Nintendo Switch and a release on the Amazon Luna game streaming service. Set in 14th century Aquitaine, France during the Hundred Years' War, the game focuses on the plight of Amicia de Rune and her ill brother Hugo as they flee from soldiers of the French Inquisition and from hordes of rats that are spreading the Black Plague. The player controls Amicia, using a combination of stealth and limited tools to hide from, distract, or knock out soldiers, evade rat hordes, and solve puzzles, incorporating elements of survival horror games. A Plague Tale: Innocence received generally positive reviews from critics. A sequel, A Plague Tale: Requiem, is set to release on October 18, 2022.
I'm sorry, I'm sick.
No.
Days Gone. Days Gone is a 2019 action-adventure video game developed by Ben Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The game is set in post-apocalyptic Oregon 2 years after the start of a pandemic that turned a portion of humanity into vicious zombie-like creatures, called Freakers. Former outlaw-turned-drifter Deacon St. John discovers his wife Sarah, having been assumed dead, may still be alive and goes on a quest to find her. Days Gone is played from a third-person perspective in which the player can explore an open-world environment. Players can use firearms, melee weapons and improvised weapons, and can use stealth to defend themselves against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures known as Freakers. A major game mechanic is Deacon's motorcycle, which is used as the player character's main mode of transportation and an extra, mobile, ammo stash. The game was released in April 2019 for PlayStation 4 and in May 2021 for PC.
If everyone else is dead.
So, those are some action-adventure games that we recommend to you to play in 2022. We hope this video is useful for you. If there are additional games that you find interesting to play, please add them in the comments field below. Don't forget to subscribe, like and turn on the bell so you can be notified when we upload a new video. See you on next video.
Tell him